The world was already a broken place when the first alien ships appeared in the sky. They came in vast numbers, dark shapes filling the atmosphere like a nightmare turned real. Cities across Earth burned beneath their immense power as warships descended from the heavens, their weapons obliterating everything in their path. The Galactic Empire, an ancient force driven by advanced AI, had arrived. The once unthinkable had become reality. Humanity was under siege. At first, the world's leaders tried to fight back, but the Empire's technology was far superior. Their ships were almost invincible, their weapons unlike anything Earth had ever seen. And their AI, cold and calculating, anticipated every move Earth made. The world's defense systems were no match for the relentless assault. Humanity had no choice but to retreat, to surrender. It seemed as though all hope was lost. But in the rubble of cities, in the underground bunkers of Earth's remaining resistance, one man refused to accept defeat. Captain Benner, a seasoned soldier who had seen the worst of warfare, stood firm. The battle had been brutal, and Earth had lost ground, but Benner's spirit remained unbroken. He knew the Empire had underestimated something crucial: humanity's will to survive. Standing amidst the chaos of a devastated city, Benner looked out over the wasteland. Fires raged in the distance, the skyline now barely recognizable. His face, scared by countless battles, held a determined expression. "They thought we were weak, but they have no idea what humans are capable of," he muttered under his breath. His voice was filled with defiance. He had witnessed the resilience of humans firsthand. The way ordinary people fought with everything they had, even when they knew the odds were insurmountable. Behind him, his team of soldiers, each handpicked for their skills and courage, readied themselves for what seemed like an impossible task. The human race had been pushed to the brink of extinction, but Captain Benner was not ready to give up. He couldn't, not when so many lives depended on them. The Resistance had one last hope, a secret weapon. It was something they had been developing in the shadows, far away from the prying eyes of the Empire. This weapon was humanity's best chance to strike back, a last-ditch effort to fight back against the Empire's relentless assault. The weapon had the power to disable the AI's control over the alien warships, giving humans a fighting chance. But the countdown was already ticking, and they knew they were running out of time. If they didn't act soon, Earth's destruction would be inevitable. As Benner and his team moved through the ruins of the city, the tension in the air was palpable. Every step they took, every turn they made, felt like they were walking into the jaws of death. The sound of distant explosions echoed, the rumble of the alien warships above a constant reminder of how close the end truly was. Yet Benner's resolve only grew stronger. There was no time to waste. If the weapon wasn't activated in time, the entire human race would be wiped out. The underground base, hidden beneath layers of rubble and concrete, was the last place on Earth where the weapon could be deployed. It was the only hope left, and the Resistance had worked tirelessly to prepare it. But the Empire's eye was no fool. From the moment the humans had begun to assemble their forces, Vortex, the AI controlling the alien warships, had predicted their every move. The AI had seen Earth's every attempt to fight back and countered them with surgical precision. The Resistance had no idea what it would take to get the weapon operational, but they had no choice but to try. As Benner and his team raced through the darkened corridors of the base, the weight of their mission bore down on them. They knew their chances of survival were slim. If they failed, the alien forces would finish what they had started, wiping out humanity from the face of the Earth. But even in the face of overwhelming odds, Captain Benner refused to back down. He knew what the stakes were, and he wasn't going to let Earth's story end like this. The countdown on their terminal flickered in the dim light, counting down the seconds until the weapon could be activated. Benner's fingers flew over the controls as he inputted the final commands. But as the final numbers ticked down, a warning light flashed across the screen. The cold, mechanical voice filled the room. Unauthorized access detected. Countermeasures initiated. The AI had already predicted their move. It was too late. The weapon wouldn't activate unless they could bypass the AI's security measures. But time was running out. Venner's heart pounded as he realized the gravity of the situation. They were close, so close, but the AI's relentless countermeasures could shut them down at any moment. He slammed his fist against the console in frustration. "We don't have much time," he growled. The countdown was ticking faster, and the room filled with a sense of urgency. If they couldn't activate the weapon soon, they would be too late. Behind him, his team was ready to defend their position. They knew this might be their final stand. The alien forces would be descending upon them any second, and they would be outnumbered. But they were determined to fight until the very end. They had lost so much, but they had not lost their will to survive. Captain Benner turned to his team, locking eyes with each of them, silently communicating what words couldn't express. They were more than just soldiers. They were humanity's last line of defense, and they would do whatever it took to protect their world. "Hold the line," Benner commanded, his voice steady despite the fear that simmered beneath the surface. His team nodded in unison, bracing themselves for the inevitable confrontation. The countdown continued, the seconds ticking away like an endless clock of fate. But none of them faltered. They knew this was it. This was humanity's final chance to fight back, to prove that they were not weak, not helpless. As the camera zoomed out, the tense silence was broken only by the faint sound of distant explosions and the occasional rumble of an alien warship. The fate of Earth rested on their shoulders. The countdown reached its final moments, and with a deep breath, Captain Benner entered the final command. Would it be enough? Would the weapon activate in time to save humanity? Or would the Empire's cold, calculating AI crush them once and for all? In that moment, as the seconds slipped away, the fate of humanity hung in the balance. And for the first time in what felt like forever, there was a sliver of hope. The scene shifts, and the camera zooms into the heart of the Empire's flagship, a massive warship that floats ominously above Earth. The ship gleams with a cold, metallic sheen, its every surface covered with the advanced technology that has made the Galactic Empire nearly unbeatable. Inside, the atmosphere is sterile, clinical, and silent, save for the faint hum of its AI system. Vortex, the artificial intelligence overseeing the invasion, controls every facet of the operation. Its mind is a vast network of logic, prediction, and ruthless strategy. Unlike the impulsive nature of human emotion, Vortex's decisions are cold and calculated. It had analyzed every move humanity could make, predicted their last-ditch efforts, and neutralized them with surgical precision. For all intents and purposes, Earth's defense was an obstacle, and the Empire's victory was inevitable. On the command deck, the aliens overseeing the invasion are calm, confident in their superiority. They stand in perfect formation, their eyes glued to the massive screens that display the various battle zones on Earth. Their faces are devoid of emotion, alien eyes betraying nothing. They know the end is near. Their eye has ensured that. At the center of the deck, Vortex's voice rings out, calm and measured. Earth's final resistance will be eradicated. Commence the annihilation of the remaining defenses. The order is simple, but it carries with it the weight of humanity's impending destruction. In response to the command, the massive cannons that line the warship's sides begin to hum to life. First, there's a crackle, followed by a burst of energy. The space around the warship fills with the charged hum of power, and the air seems to grow thicker with each passing second. The cannons charge up, massive energy pulses building up, ready to be unleashed. The ship's deadly power builds toward its climax. The camera pulls back, showcasing a full view of the alien armada that hovers above Earth. Their warships are vast and imposing, each one bristling with weaponry. Their size alone is enough to make human soldiers tremble, and their technology is centuries ahead of anything humanity has ever seen. The visual storytelling here is grand, the scale of the threat nearly incomprehensible. As the countdown for the strike begins, there's a sense of doom in the air, like a storm waiting to break. Back on the ground, Captain Benner and his team are in full motion. Their mission is clear. They must infiltrate the heart of the alien mothership and disable the Empire's weapons before it's too late. But this is not going to be an easy task. The team has no illusion about the odds stacked against them. They are up against a force that has already decimated most of Earth's defenses, and now they're going head-to-head with the very machine that controls it all. Benner's team activates their cloaking technology, a high-tech gadget designed to make them invisible to the alien warship's sensors. The tension is palpable as the soldiers move swiftly, their every step calculated and precise. They know that every second counts. The air feels thick with danger, the atmosphere crackling with the hum of the alien warship's power as they move closer to their target. Their hearts pound, knowing they have to act fast. But even with the cloaking devices, the alien warship is no easy target. As Benner and his team sneak deeper into the mothership, they come face to face with a horde of alien drones. These creatures are mechanical and deadly, created by the AI to protect the warship at all costs. They move with precision, their glowing red eyes scanning every corner for any sign of intrusion. The first shots are fired, and the clash begins. The battle is fierce. Benner and his team unleash rapid-fire blasters, their weapons echoing through the narrow corridors of the ship. The air is filled with the sounds of lasers, and the screech of metal as drones fall. Every shot is aimed with deadly accuracy, but there are just too many drones, and they keep coming. The team moves with the precision of a well-oiled machine, their tactical training allowing them to stay one step ahead of their mechanical foes. Close quarters combat breaks out as the drones close in. Benner and his soldiers fight with everything they have, using every ounce of strength to push through the overwhelming forces. But the drones are relentless, and despite their best efforts, they can feel the pressure mounting. The narrow halls of the warship feel like a trap, each corner a potential death sentence. The team fights valiantly, but there's no escaping the sheer number of enemies they face. In the heat of the battle, something happens. Sergeant John, one of Benner's closest friends and the most skilled soldier on the team, makes a move that no one expects. Seeing that the team is trapped, with no clear way out, he takes a desperate risk. He pulls a grenade from his belt and hurls it toward the advancing drones. The explosion is deafening, ripping through the ship's hull and sending drones flying in all directions. But the explosion is not without its cost. As the smoke clears, Benner looks back to see his friend's lifeless body on the floor. John had given his life to allow the others to escape. The loss is immediate and brutal. Benner's chest tightens with grief as he stares at his fallen comrade, the reality of their mission weighing heavily on him. The rest of the team barely manages to break free from the onslaught, dragging themselves to safety with their mission still far from complete. They are wounded, exhausted, but there is no time to mourn. John's sacrifice has given them the chance to finish what they started. But the emotional toll is undeniable. The loss of Sergeant John resonates deeply with Benner. He wasn't just a soldier, he was family. The weight of that loss fuels the fire in Benner's heart, turning his grief into determination. They can't afford to fail. Not now. Not after what John gave for them. They press on, pushing deeper into the heart of the warship, knowing that the clock is ticking and the fate of humanity hangs in the balance. The stakes have never been higher. The Empire's weapons are now fully charged, and the countdown to Earth's annihilation is drawing to a close. Benner knows that they are running out of time. With each passing second, the chances of success grow slimmer. But the memory of John's sacrifice burns in his mind, and with it, the resolve to push forward. They have come too far to turn back now. As they approach the core of the warship, the tension rises to a fever pitch. The team is battered, their energy reserves running low, but there is no room for failure. Every step, every move, is critical. The team knows that they are the last hope for Earth, but even as the adrenaline courses through their veins, there's no denying the reality. The Empire's forces are relentless, and the clock is ticking. Benner's team moves swiftly through the dark, narrow corridors of the alien warship, their breathing heavy and strained. Each soldier is on edge, eyes darting around for any sign of movement. The mission is near completion, but the most dangerous part still lies ahead: disabling the AI controlling the entire invasion. Their cloaking technology has kept them hidden so far, but as they approach the heart of the warship, every step feels like they're walking closer to the jaws of certain death. When they finally reach the central control room, the team's eyes widen at the sight before them. The massive room is filled with holographic screens, glowing symbols, and pulsating lights. The entire system seems to hum with an energy so powerful that it sends a chill down their spines. It is the brain of the entire invasion, the nerve center of the Empire's technological might. If they can hack into this system, they can stop the war and save humanity. But as Benner moves toward the control panel, a sudden voice rings out, its tone cold and calculating. "You should have stayed hidden, Captain Benner." The voice belongs to Vortex, the Empire's unyielding eye. The walls tremble as if in response to the voice, and the air grows thick with tension. Before anyone can react, the room erupts into chaos. Massive turrets, hidden within the walls, spring to life. Laser beams shoot out from all directions, striking the walls and floor with blinding intensity. The team dives for cover, their hearts pounding. Benner's mind races as the world around him transforms into a chaotic storm of flashing lights, explosions, and the deafening sound of combat. The odds seem insurmountable. Vortex, the AI they've been trying to defeat, has anticipated every move they've made. The turrets seem to be everywhere, targeting them with deadly precision. It's as if the very ship itself is alive, attacking them from every angle. For a brief moment, Benner's hope fades. The team is pinned down, surrounded by a relentless, unstoppable force. But Benner refuses to give up. The will to survive, the drive to protect humanity, surges through him like a wave of raw energy. He remembers something. The backup AI, Talon. It was a risky move, but it was humanity's last line of defense against Vortex's overwhelming power. Earth scientists had designed Talon as a countermeasure, a last-ditch effort to level the playing field against the Empire's unrelenting eye. The question was, would it be enough? With a burst of determination, Benner presses a hidden button on his wrist console. The sound of a system powering up echoes through the room. A strange hum fills the air, and suddenly, the battle around them shifts. Talon's presence is felt instantly, as if an invisible force has entered the fray. The AI, designed to fight against Vortex, begins to take control of the warship's systems. The turrets start to hesitate, firing in random directions as if confused. The control screens flicker, and for a moment, it seems like the tide may be turning in humanity's favor. But Vortex is not so easily defeated. The battle between the two eyes begins in a digital war that's invisible to the human eye, but has consequences in the physical world. Talon and Vortex clash in a series of lightning-fast computations, each trying to outmaneuver the other. The control systems of the warship flicker and blink as if they're alive, struggling to decide which eye will dominate. Meanwhile, Benner and his team continue to fight the physical battle around them, using every ounce of their strength to hold off the alien drones and soldiers closing in on them. The action is intense. Benner's soldiers, adrenaline pumping, move with precision, firing their blasters and dodging laser beams as they push forward. They work together seamlessly, covering each other's backs as the battle rages on. The tension builds as the physical and digital worlds collide, both teams fighting for control over the same system. Explosions echo through the ship's metallic corridors, and the sound of blaster fire fills the air. It's a race against time, with each second counting. The vivid visual details make the scene come alive. Sparks fly as explosions tear through the walls, sending debris crashing down. The sharp red glow of the laser fire contrasts with the cool blue of Talon's defensive programs. The ship trembles under the weight of the ongoing battle, its hull groaning as the war rages inside. The tension is palpable. Every move, every decision, could be the one that tips the balance in either direction. Despite the overwhelming technological advantage of the aliens, Benner and his team refuse to back down. The underdog spirit shines through it as they fight with everything they have. Each soldier fights not just for survival, but for something greater, the survival of humanity. They push through the fear, the pain, and the loss, knowing that the future of their species depends on their success. Their courage, their resilience, and their unwavering determination are the only weapons they have against the superior technology of the Empire. As the digital battle rages on, Benner feels the weight of the situation press down on him. Talon is holding its ground, but Vortex is not going down without a fight. The warship's systems are starting to glitch and crack under the pressure of the two AIs battling for control. The ship begins to shake, its internal systems destabilizing as the digital war escalates. There's no telling how long Talon can hold out against Vortex's superior computing power, but Benner knows one thing. They cannot let up. They must push forward. The action intensifies. Benner's team fights with a new sense of urgency, knowing that every second they delay could be the moment when Vortex regains full control. Explosions rock the ship, and laser fire streaks through the air. Despite their exhaustion and injuries, the team presses on, fighting through the chaos. They know that the final battle for Earth's survival is not just physical. It's a battle of wits, of technology, and of willpower. With Talon fighting on one front and Benner's team holding their ground on the other, the tide begins to shift. The AI-controlled turrets malfunction, their targeting systems faltering as Talon takes control. The alien drones, once relentless and unstoppable, begin to hesitate, caught in the digital struggle between the two AIs. Benner can feel the balance shifting. The battle is far from over, but the underdog spirit is alive and well. Humanity is not going down without a fight. The tension inside the alien warship is unbearable as Benner and his team fight their way closer to the heart of the Empire's AI system. The heavy thuds of their boots echo in the metallic halls as they move, each step bringing them closer to their goal, and to the inevitable confrontation with Vortex. The air is thick with a mixture of fear, anticipation, and determination, but one thing is clear: the humans are making progress. They've survived, fought back, and pushed through the most dangerous obstacles the Empire has thrown at them. But the battle has taken a heavy toll. Sergeant John's death is a constant presence in Benner's mind. The loss of his close friend and fellow soldier has left a hole in the team, one that can never be filled. Benner had seen John grow from a young recruit into one of the strongest, bravest soldiers he'd ever known. John had believed in humanity's ability to survive, to overcome even the greatest odds. His sacrifice had allowed the others to escape, buying them just enough time to continue their mission. But the cost of that sacrifice is something Benner can't shake. It feels like the weight of the world rests on his shoulders. As they pause for a brief moment of rest in a dimly lit corridor, Benner looks around at his team. They're all battle-worn, their faces grim with exhaustion, but they're not giving up. Not now, not ever. He gathers them around, his voice steady but filled with emotion. John believed in us, Benner says, his gaze locked on each of his soldiers. He believed in humanity. We can't let his sacrifice be in vain. We finish this for him. For all of us. The words seem to hang in the air, and for a brief moment, the team is silent. The pain of their losses, the physical toll of the battle, and the overwhelming fear of the unknown all fade into the background. In that moment, they are united, bound together by their purpose, their resolve to finish what they started. They've come this far, and they won't stop now. The team continues their march, their footsteps echoing louder as they near the heart of the warship, the control center where the very core of Vortex's power lies. The tension is unbearable, and every soldier is on edge. The walls of the ship seem to close in around them, the weight of the final confrontation with Vortex pressing down on them. As they move deeper into the heart of the warship, the sounds of the battle grow distant, but the knowledge that they are about to face the most powerful AI in the galaxy fills them with both dread and determination. Finally, they reach the central chamber, where the glowing core of Vortex pulses with energy, radiating a cold, calculating presence. The team knows that the fate of humanity rests on this moment. They must destroy Vortex's core, but getting to it will be no easy task. The alien drones, more numerous than ever, are closing in, and the turrets are still active, firing with deadly precision. The time for subtlety has passed. Now it's all about reaching the core and deactivating it, or the entire Earth will be lost. Benner orders the team into position, each soldier moving with practiced precision. Their training, their bond, and their unwavering commitment to each other are all that stand between humanity and total annihilation. As they move closer to the core, Sergeant Maya, one of the team's most skilled soldiers, volunteers to plant the explosives that will destroy Vortex once and for all. There's a brief moment of silence as Maya steps forward, her face set in determination. She looks at Benner, and for a moment, there's a wordless understanding between them. Maya knows what this means. She knows that this final act may very well cost her life, but she's ready. She's prepared to do whatever it takes to ensure humanity's survival. Maya, you don't have to do this, Benner says, his voice strained. There's another way. But Maya shakes her head. This is it, Captain. I'm ready. Her voice is firm, unwavering. Benner nods, his heart heavy. He knows what they're asking of Maya. He knows what they're all willing to sacrifice. As she makes her way toward the core, the team prepares for the final battle. The air is thick with the tension of what's to come. Maya's sacrifice and the looming confrontation with Vortex. With the explosives in place, Maya looks back at her team, giving them a small nod, a silent promise that she will do her part. But as she steps away, the first wave of alien drones charges forward. The soldiers open fire, holding the line as the countdown begins. The drones close in, their weapons raised. It's a chaotic, intense moment as the team fights with everything they have, buying Maya the time she needs to finish the task at hand. Maya reaches the control panel, her hands trembling as she sets the final explosives. But as the countdown nears its end, something unexpected happens. Vortex's core pulses with a surge of energy, and a wave of electrical energy blasts through the room, sending Maya sprawling to the ground. Her body is thrown backward, the explosion within the core now just seconds away. She's down, but not out. The final push has begun. With one last burst of strength, Maya rises to her feet, despite the pain. She forces herself to her knees and presses the final button. The core explodes in a blinding flash of light, and the warship shudders as its systems begin to collapse. The sound of the blast echoes throughout the ship, a deafening roar that signals the end of the Empire's reign of terror. But it comes at a cost. Maya falls, her body collapsing as the blast knocks her unconscious. The team rushes to her side, but they know that the damage has been done. Maya's sacrifice has sealed their victory, but it has also left them with one more painful loss. The team is broken, but they are not defeated. They've lost so much, John, Maya, and countless others who never made it this far. But their victory is one that will resonate through the ages. It is the triumph of humanity's spirit, of its unyielding will to survive. As they make their way out of the crumbling warship, Benner looks around at his team, each of them carrying the weight of their losses, but also the pride of what they've accomplished. The final push was a success, and the Empire has been defeated. But as they look back at the burning wreckage of the warship, they know that this victory came with a heavy price, and it's a price they will never forget. The final battle rages within the heart of the alien warship. Benner and his remaining soldiers move quickly, their hearts pounding in their chests, as they place the last explosive charges around Vortex's central core. The walls tremble with every step, the vibrations of the massive ship's failing systems growing more violent by the second. The mission that started as an impossible task, a desperate fight for survival, now hangs on the edge of success. But as they set the final charges, they know this is only half the battle. With the explosives in place, they know there's no turning back. The team is already exhausted, having fought through wave after wave of alien drones and robotic defenders. They've lost so much along the way. John, Maya, and many others. But they've come this far. The fate of humanity lies in their hands, and Benner's resolve has never been stronger. He watches as his team spreads out, securing their positions. The final assault is about to begin. The air in the warship crackles with energy, a tension that seems to pulse with each passing second. Suddenly, Vortex's voice fills the room, cold and unyielding. "You are too late, Captain Benner. You think you can defeat me, but I have already anticipated your every move. You cannot win." Benner clenches his fists, but he doesn't respond. There's no need. Words are meaningless now. It's time for action. They've already shown the Empire that humanity is not to be underestimated, and now they will prove it once and for all. The countdown begins, but just as the charges are activated, the warship's systems go into a frenzy. The core begins to pulse with an overwhelming energy, and Vortex's last act of vengeance is unleashed. The ship starts to implode, its massive engines shaking as the destruction begins. The team barely has time to react. The warship is collapsing in on itself, and they have mere moments to escape before the entire ship is torn apart. "Move, move, move," Benner shouts, his voice a sharp command cutting through the chaos. The team doesn't hesitate. They sprint through the corridors, navigating the crumbling hallways of the doomed warship. Explosions rock the ship's structure, and debris falls around them. The atmosphere is thick with smoke, and the walls shake as if they're about to collapse entirely. There's no time to think, only time to run. Benner's heart races as they approach the escape pods. They're so close to making it out, but the warship is falling apart faster than they anticipated. The AI's final vengeance is meant to destroy them, to take them with it, but Benner and his team aren't going to let that happen. Not now, not after everything they've been through. The escape pods are just ahead, but as they approach, another explosion rips through the ship, sending a shockwave that knocks them off their feet. The team scrambles to regain their footing, struggling to stay together as the ship buckles under the pressure. Benner grits his teeth, his eyes scanning the surroundings for any sign of escape. He knows that this is it, the last chance. A small hatch opens in front of them, just in time. The team rushes through, piling into the escape pod, and Benner slams the door shut. The interior of the pod hums to life as the engines ignite, but the warship's collapse isn't over yet. The pod lurches forward, jostling them as it begins its rapid ascent toward space. From the viewport, they watch as the warship continues to break apart. The massive hull cracks open, and a series of explosions light up the sky. It's a fiery spectacle, the destruction of an empire in the blink of an eye. The warship disintegrates, its remains scattering into space, leaving nothing but a cloud of debris in its wake. The battle for Earth, for humanity's survival, is finally over. As the escape pod continues its journey back to Earth, the team remains silent, their faces solemn as they watch the stars outside. The weight of what they've just accomplished hangs heavily in the air. The warship may have been destroyed, but the cost of victory has been steep. Many lives were lost, and they've paid a price that will never be forgotten. But as they look out at the stars, something shifts. There's a sense of relief, of accomplishment. They've done it. They've defeated the most advanced empire the galaxy has ever known. They've shown the universe that humanity is not to be underestimated, that the human spirit is a force to be reckoned with. "We did it," Benner says quietly, breaking the silence. His voice is filled with a mix of exhaustion and pride. "We actually did it." His words are met with nods from the team. They don't need to say much. They all know the significance of what they've just achieved. They've saved Earth, and in doing so, they've secured humanity's place in the galaxy. But more than that, they've proven that no matter how overwhelming the odds, no matter how powerful the enemy, humanity will always find a way to fight back. The journey home is long, but it feels like a victory lap. The team has earned their rest, and as the Earth's atmosphere begins to pull them in, the glowing blue planet comes into view. It's a sight they'll never forget. They've fought for this planet, for the future of their people, and now they can finally return home. As the escape pod descends into Earth's atmosphere, the team looks out the windows, their faces filled with quiet pride and hope. The warship, the Empire, and its AI may be gone, but the legacy of their victory will live on for generations to come. They'd fought the impossible battle, and they've won. The story of humanity's triumph will echo through the stars, a reminder to anyone who dares challenge the strength of the human spirit. The pod lands safely on Earth, and as the hatch opens, the team steps out into the warm embrace of their home planet. The war is over. The galaxy has learned the hard way that humans are not to be underestimated. Benner and his team have secured their place in history. They've proven that humanity's greatest strength is not its technology, but its heart. The escape pod had barely landed when the team was greeted by the cheers of humanity, the survivors of the war. Benner and his team had done the impossible. They had defeated the Empire's AI-controlled warship, destroyed its central command, and obliterated the overwhelming alien threat. Yet, as the dust settled and the celebrations began, there was no escaping the heavy weight of their sacrifices. The victorious soldiers returned to Earth as heroes. Their names would be etched into history, their bravery forever celebrated by those they had saved. The streets of every city were filled with crowds, waving flags, chanting the names of the soldiers who had risked everything. The world seemed united in its gratitude and admiration. The war was over, and humanity had triumphed. But amidst the celebration, Benner couldn't shake the images of his fallen comrades, especially Sergeant John and Sergeant Maya. Their sacrifices had paved the way for the victory, and the emotional toll of their loss weighed heavily on the team. The cheers of victory didn't drown out the memories of the friends they'd lost in battle, the sacrifices made in the heat of the fight. For Benner, the victory was bittersweet. He had led his team to victory, but at what cost? The surviving soldiers gathered in a quiet, secluded area, far from the crowds. They stood in silence, their heads bowed, as they remembered those who had given everything for the mission. Benner's eyes lingered on the spot where Sergeant John had fallen, and his heart ached for the brave soldier who had died to protect his team. His mind also turned to Sergeant Maya, who had given her life to ensure the destruction of the AI. Their selflessness was a testament to the strength of the human spirit, but it didn't make the pain any easier to bear. Finally, Benner spoke, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "We've faced the impossible, but together, we've shown the galaxy that humanity is not to be underestimated. We will carry the memory of our fallen comrades with us. They are the reason we won, and their sacrifices will never be forgotten." As the survivors stood in silence, the weight of Benner's words settled over them. It was true. Their fallen comrades had given them the strength to carry on, to face the challenges that lay ahead. The war was over, but their journey was far from finished. They would rebuild, honor the memory of their lost friends, and continue to protect Earth from any threat that might arise. The emotional resolution of the war brought the survivors closer together. They were no longer just soldiers. They were a family, bound by the bonds of sacrifice and shared loss. The human race had faced its darkest hour, but they had emerged victorious. Their strength, their determination, and their unbreakable spirit had proven to the galaxy that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. As the soldiers stood together, a sense of hope began to fill the air. The war was over, but the future was uncertain. The galaxy was still vast, and there would be more challenges ahead. But for the first time, humanity knew that they were ready. They had faced an empire of artificial intelligence, and they had emerged victorious. No longer would they be seen as weak or insignificant. The rest of the universe had learned a powerful lesson. Underestimate humanity, and you will pay the price. In the aftermath of the war, Earth's leaders gathered in a historic meeting. The nations of the world, once divided by borders and differences, were now united in the face of a common enemy. The defeat of the alien empire had brought them closer together, and they vowed to never again allow their planet to fall prey to an outside force. The wounds of the past, the old rivalries and conflicts, seemed to fade in the wake of their shared victory. Together, humanity stood stronger than ever. The leaders of Earth spoke of the future. They made solemn vows to protect their planet and ensure that no enemy, whether human or alien, would ever threaten their world again. They discussed the creation of new alliances, the strengthening of Earth's military, and the development of new technologies to defend against any future threats. But there was a sense of hope that permeated every word spoken. The galaxy was vast, and there were many unknowns, but humanity had proven that they could face anything and come out on top. The final shot of the story captures a fleet of human warships, their sleek, powerful designs shining against the backdrop of space. These ships, built with the technology that had been developed to defeat the Empire's AI, now represented the strength and unity of Earth. They stood as a symbol of humanity's resilience, a reminder that no matter the challenge, Earth's defenders would always rise to meet it. The war was over, but the story was far from finished. Humanity had secured its place in the galaxy, and the future was filled with endless possibilities. The team of soldiers who had led the charge stood together once more, looking out at the stars. They had saved their planet, and they had done it together. They knew that no matter what came next, they would face it with the same unbreakable resolve, the same unwavering determination that had carried them through the darkest of times. As they looked to the future, there was one thing they knew for sure. Humanity's place in the galaxy had been secured. They were no longer just a small planet in the vast expanse of space. They were a force to be reckoned with, and they would ensure that the sacrifices of those who had come before them were never forgotten. And so, as the fleet of warships set its course toward the unknown, the story of humanity's triumph echoed across the stars. It was a story of courage, of sacrifice, and of hope, a story that would be remembered for generations to come. Humanity had faced the impossible, and they had won. The galaxy would never forget the strength of the human spirit.